Hello, friends, and welcome back to Like Anime. My name's George, and with me is Tony.
I'm the one that screams a lot. I scream every line because I'm a bad boy shonen character. I don't fucking know what I'm saying.
I'm a bad boy,
I'm a
shonen character.
I'm a bad boy. You gonna spank me?
We're already off to a weird start, but thanks for joining. We're here to talk about a very gorgeous, beautiful, lovely color palette, and an overall delightful film called Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop that came out on Netflix as a co-production very recently.
It's a great name too.
Yo, yeah.
It'll
Love
just
it.
make you want to watch it.
I kind of wish it was just soda instead of the soda pop. I'm fine with it. It just seems a little one word too long, but it is a nice mental image.
The Japanese title is Cider no Yoni, so like cider.
Yeah.
Something something. I don't
Something
remember
fizzy.
the rest. Yeah.
Anything fizzy will do.
Cider no Yoni kotoba wa. I don't remember bubble up, but yeah.
Mm.
Kotoba is words.
Well, don't forget to bubble up.
Word.
But
Yeah.
speaking of
I wonder what the literal translation of that word is. Whatever.
speaking of words bubbling up, we're about to do that about this. I know words.
Hold on, let me cram more carbonation into my esophagus, and then words will bubble up.
Oh, bubble, bubble. Bubble, 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 bubble.
No, my beer's flat.
Okay. Dead air already. So yeah, where do we start with this movie here?
So I don't know, basic story or the way that it looks, or
I mean, the look is
know.
very. Noticed that immediately. We saw the trailer, and I was
very pretty. Yeah.
and I was hooked. Very bright colors, but like the color palette is like smartly selected. Like the colors are just seem very purposeful all around, and how they they don't clash, but there's a lot of colors that you may not think would go together, but do, and it just looks real, little cartoony, but just slightly, like in the backgrounds and stuff. Like it just has a slight like kind of whimsy to it. That's kind of fascinating, but it also looks gorgeous. It has gorgeous landscapes and
yeah, it's bright and oversaturated for the most part. I was actually making, I sent you the pictures earlier today. There's the one of the old man carrying the vinyl down the street, and you can see the color is like bright pink. And then the other picture where someone is just holding that vinyl. It's an empty case of the vinyl, but
yeah, the sleeve.
And it's all just like subdued and like grays. Like it's still pink, but it's very, I don't know.
Interesting. Like more muted.
Yeah. So there's some range within that as well, but yeah. And story-wise, like, what's it about? It's about a guy named something Sakura. You remember his first name?
No.
No, they call him Cherry. That's his nickname.
Even on, I looked at multiple different cast listings of like character names, and main two characters are just listed as their nicknames.
Well, that's probably how they're credited in the credits, I suppose. So
Cherry.
So Cherry, his last name is Sakura, which is why his nickname is Cherry. I don't remember his first name. Apparently no one on the internet does either. But he seems to work at a sort of old folks
I get rec
senior recreation center.
Senior center.
He works at a senior center at the mall.
Yes, that is the right word, or the right term.
And there's a girl who hangs out at the mall with her friends.
And the mall is hot. Let us say it is.
Oh yeah,
As malls used to be.
Do you remember the 80s? Yeah, it's like that.
Are malls still hot in Japan? Maybe, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
They haven't lost malls. But it's interesting because it's very.
I don't know. I recently saw like a tour of a very new. It was like an outdoor sort of mall, but it was it was a mall.
Well, outdoor malls we have
Japan,
for sure
in Japan.
Yeah, but but this is an indoor one, and so it was kind of some nostalgic factor
mall.
Seeing that.
And she it seems like she aspires to be an idol, like her friends, like they're sort of an idol group, like people recognize them and shit,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they have like online. They're like online personas. I think they
Mm.
stream and
Yeah, yeah.
they're Zoomers.
And people recognize them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But their
So
town doesn't seem to be super huge either. But
they're at least locally famous then.
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Internet local.
Okay, so this girl, who we'll call Smile because that's the only name that she's credited as in the credits. She has recently gotten braces and is very concerned about how it makes her look.
Yeah.
And also she has buck teeth, which I guess
Yeah.
she's always had, but she's still self-conscious about that.
And they seem to have been like streaming or doing whatever they do for quite a while because they commented that when she was a kid, like her buck teeth, she was called Beaver, and it was like a cute thing.
Made her super
and,
cute.
Yeah, and she was really popular. So, but now she's, I think, more self-conscious about it. But now she also has the braces.
She doesn't want to be cute. She wants to be sexy.
Yeah. No, what is it? No longer a girl, not yet a woman, or how's it go?
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, she's kind of stuck in between that, pubescent world of that transition. Yeah, and so she dons a mask before going out. This really cute scene where we're getting like a mirror perspective, and she's like inspecting the braces and like trying to hide them, and it realizes she can't, so she puts on a white, kind of surgical mask that are very common these days.
Yeah, probably not as common when this was written, but
yeah, more so in Japan, but yeah,
I think no one else in the episode was wearing one except possibly her, right? I think.
But during flu season, they've always been a long time been good about that.
Certainly, yeah. But yeah, so she wears that to sort of cover her face, and she and Cherry encounter each other at some point, and he's very into haiku. Very. Yeah, he has a freaking haiku dictionary in his phone case.
He's like always like mumbling to himself, like words and I don't know, word combinations.
Words.
Yeah.
Word combinations.
They're in.
No, that was me mumbling those things.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Words combinations. And it's cool. It doesn't come off annoying or anything. It's like an interesting quirk that he has that he's just fixated on, and yeah.
So we watched this in Japanese with English subtitles rather than the dub, and I think I was just saying that because I think the way the haiku comes off is probably better in that rendition of it.
Yeah,
I would think like it'd be sort of broken in the English dub, but I mean it comes off as sort of classy and
yeah,
like the way you think of haiku.
Yeah. And he's good at it. He comes up with there's several haiku that are that he comes up with that are probably should have written some of those down, but seem important to the story and the characters, and
they're prominently featured in the story and are based on the characters and the events that occur. Yes.
Yeah.
But they are like proper haiku because they're not like on the nose sort of stuff.
Yes.
They're, like vague enough that you're like, oh, I wonder if that's what he means.
Yeah.
And then the problem becomes in Japanese words can. So we're only hearing these haiku syllabically. We're only hearing the syllables of them. We're not really seeing the kanji. We don't know which kanji they're based on.
Yeah.
And it comes up later that depending on which kanji you use, the meaning can change pretty significantly.
Yeah.
Which is not uniquely Japanese, but definitely not English language thing. You say the words. I mean, I guess it can happen in English as well, where you say something and the syllables could be interpreted in a different way to mean something else.
That's true. I mean, there's a lot of puns in Japanese, and especially I think when it comes to art, like in writing. So I imagine, yeah, that's going on. But then there's other things too, yeah, with the kanji having double meanings and I don't know,
Yeah,
different insights and like minutia that we're not able to
yeah.
percept.
So at the end, he repeats the same line over and over, except
Oh
he
yeah.
accentuates different syllables,
Yes.
which changes the meaning.
Yes.
I guess is sort of what I'm getting at with the
Yeah.
haiku thing.
Teeth, wasn't it teeth and
Mm-hmm.
something? Yeah, I
Teeth
forget.
is ha. I forget what else. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah.
So anyway, so this haiku loving guy, Cherry,
Cherry.
is he's just walking, mumbling. He's just walking around doing the haiku thing, huh? Like mumbling before he sees the old man. This is in the very beginning.
I mean, he already knows the old man.
Well, no, I know before he's walking around the mall with him.
Hmm.
Trying to remember, but anyway, and she's also like just live streaming around the mall, like with her phone, and
With her mask on.
getting likes.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we have to talk about Beaver.
Beaver! Which you'll hear several times in this movie.
Yep. And hard not to think of Leave It to Beaver.
He's the local troublemaker and
Yes.
also a friend of Cherry's apparently.
Yeah, which we don't know in the beginning.
No.
But basically, he's trying to steal this standee or cardboard cutout of some idol, and he's spotted on the security cameras, and it's this whole like wacky chase scene around the mall, and
I'm pretty sure I saw Benny Hill at some point.
Yep. And so yeah, it escalates in Beaver grabbing a skateboard with the cardboard cutout and like jumping over some dude to like go over a overhanging down to like the from the second floor down into the first floor.
Yeah, he's a very talented skateboarder.
Yes.
It was like that skateboard was glued to his feet as he soared through the air.
Yeah. No hand on it whatsoever. I mean, he's holding a cardboard
Amazing.
cutout like it's kind of hard to. So
I
he
mean,
got real lucky, I guess.
Using that as a glider, like that makes sense.
That's true.
But yeah, the grip tape on that, board must have just been like gorilla snot or something. I don't know. It was glued to his feet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a bit fantastical. And probably, after that, it's the most like action-y scene, or most
Yeah, that's true.
tensest scene in the movie, which isn't a bad thing, but it was unbelievable, like the reality of it. But as part of an opening scene and leading up to the inciting incident, it was whatever. It got us there.
It was filler.
Yeah. Well, it was a stepping stone because he falls down, into the first floor and there's like a baby race going on. And there's like a crowd gathered and he lands. I'm trying to remember.
Baby race.
You're like, what?
I sort of forgot about that.
About the baby race? All right, do we need to talk about the baby race? A bunch of toddlers racing. I don't know what better way to. And one of them goes before
well, pre-toddlers for sure.
Yeah,
they were crawling.
Yeah, that's true. They were crawling. Yeah, babies. Yeah, it's a baby race.
Baby race.
Weird. And so anyway, he kind of lands into the crowd, and I forget exactly how it happened, but he knocks into someone.
He bumps Cherry into her, I think.
Okay, was that So it causes this like chain reaction of them.
And they both have their phones in their hand because he is looking in his haiku dictionary, and
which is built into his case for his phone. Yeah, it's like a flip case. Yeah,
it's in his phone case, and she is like live streaming the cuteness of the baby race,
and also everything around her. But yeah, at that moment, it was the baby race.
Yeah, and their phone cases look very similar. So they knock into each other. They both drop their phones, and
her mask falls off. That's what happens.
Oh yeah,
yes.
And that's the picture in the thumbnail where we just see the teeth,
yes,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
It's not like the full smile or anything.
Yeah, it's just like And he notices in that moment, he just sees he's all about words. He's repeating words, but he sees braces, and so he's like braces. He says it out
Mm.
loud, which is kind of cool. It's already established that he's like always muttering words
Mm-hmm.
and things he sees specifically, and so he sees braces and says it. But little does he know,
She's very self-conscious about
yeah,
these braces.
yeah,
And so, yeah, she gets sort of upset and then grabs her phone and runs away. Except, bum, 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 it's not her phone, it's his phone because they have similar cases. You saw this coming, right?
yes.
Yeah, I think everyone saw this coming.
So that sets everything in motion. Basically, them meeting, and they have some pretty funny, awkward exchanges. Like she calls, and that's when we learn that he's friends. Cherry is friends with Beaver,
Viva!
and he's also friends with the guy that Beaver was bringing the idol standee to, which was
Mm.
what was his name? Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Japan,
Yeah,
the country that it takes place in.
should be memorable, I would suppose. But yeah,
And he's
Japan.
kind of the otaku type that works in some sort of store, like not like I don't know, entertainment store. I forget where he works exactly, but
He's kind of the otaku type who jerks off to standees that his friends steal.
that's implied, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't dwell on that. He's just he's just around. But anyway, she ends up calling with her friends. You know, they all are like, oh, you gotta call your phone, and so she
No.
calls it.
No, you missed the important part.
What?
When he's escaping, the head falls off the standee,
Oh, yes.
and now Japan can no longer jerk off to it.
Man, you want to just talk about Japan for like 20 minutes?
No?
Oh, okay, I'm just checking.
Just wanna talk about jerking off for 20 minutes?
Okay. Now that's the stuff.
Anyway,
Yes.
her friends encourage her to call her phone.
Yeah.
Right?
And
That's
it's
what you're getting at?
funny exchange where like she calls and then he doesn't want to answer, but then his friend hits it. Beaver.
Viva!
Beaver answers it, and so they're talking, and then I don't know what happens, but then like he accidentally hits the camera thing, so it turns into like a FaceTime call, and then so like she's on it, and then she's like and then she hangs up, and yeah, it's just funny. But they get their phones back,
And then they call back, and then her friends hit the camera so they can also see them.
yes,
I remember that, where
Yeah.
they both sort of see each other.
yeah,
It's like these three guys and these three girls.
and then very strange cut after that to they have their phones back, and we don't see the exchange
This is
or
true.
their like not their initial meeting because I guess that was when the mishap happened, but
Mm.
kind of a missed opportunity. I thought it wasn't absolutely necessary, but it could have been like cute or funny, kind of thing with her being
Yeah.
so awkward and just further cementing their personality types at the beginning.
I bet
But,
I mean, it was probably scripted, and they probably at least partially animated it, and then just decided that it didn't play well or something.
Yeah, or whatever they had just wasn't fitting and
Yeah.
just didn't need it. And I'll have to just take their word for it. Not that they said anything, but trust them because it wasn't that big of a deal. Because after that, the real story is them kind of getting to spend more time together. But then I guess we also need to set up. We learn about an old man,
Fujiyama?
Fujiyama. Yeah, Fujiyama-san, Mr. Fujiyama.
Yep.
He's got this empty record sleeve, which I think you hinted at.
Yeah. He's
And,
an old guy that goes to this senior recreation center at the mall. That's what we're calling it, right?
Yeah, I think seniors. When you said senior center, or we
Okay.
got there, I was like, that's right.
So
That's right.
not internment camp. Okay. Senior
Not,
center.
and not daycare.
Not daycare. So, Fujiyama is an old man who goes to this senior recreation center and writes haiku with Cherry. They sort of go out and do haiku.
Yeah, and several of the other seniors also later
Yeah.
participate in that.
Handful, yeah.
Yeah, they're like looking for this. He's looking for this record. And he's just walking around the mall, and you get the idea. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna look for this record." And Cherry's just walking with him, and
Cherry's just like,
doing his haiku thing.
sort of supporting him, like, "Oh yeah, let's go look over here," even though I know we won't find it over here. But he just thinks he's sort of a senile old man, essentially, looking for this record.
Yeah,
And is not actually helping him, but is sort of walking around the mall with him, essentially,
Yes.
while thinking about haiku, as you
Yes.
said.
And so that establishes his character, and then we learn later that Cherry is working there because his mom used to work there, but she's had back problems, and
Oh,
so
yes, that's
Cherry's
right.
kind of filling in,
Just following.
and so that's why he got closer to Mr. Fujiyama. But then he starts to get closer to Smile after their interaction. I guess we should talk about the scene when they are doing the haiku thing. The seniors and Cherry, who's younger. I mean, that Cherry and Smile are like a year apart.
Yeah.
They're teenage.
15, 16, 17 ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
In that range, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that it's like not only is Cherry he's working for this senior center, but like he's also participating in the activities himself, and they all kind of take turns reading, or one person's reading the haikus, but then she has Cherry read his, and he's all nervous
Which
to do
was
that.
odd.
Yeah, I guess because it's so good. He's so good at doing it, and
Something, yeah.
I don't know. And they all love his haiku. They're all very supportive and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But while this is happening, this is after Smile got her phone back. She's with her friends around the mall again, of course, and they see this happening, and so they're crouched like watching it and
recording it on their phone.
Yeah, and they eventually get found out, but then that kind of brings them a little closer, and then it's after that with the scene I was just talking about where they were walking down that whatever that path was, and it was very sweet movie overall, but like their interactions are really cute, and they set up the shortcomings they have so well. They're so simple, but it's like, okay.
Yeah,
like
it's one of those shows where like that they like each other, even though it's never really indicated strongly in the show, right?
There's like a connection there, but it doesn't need to be overtly shown to us that it is romantic, or
there's no like proper romance or anything. It's just like they have some sort of connection that it is obvious to us because of the way the show is put together, I guess, right?
Yeah. And I guess we should say too, obviously her quirk in the beginning is, she is self-conscious about her braces, so she's wearing the mask. But then he wears these headphones all the time in the beginning that we find out he's not listening to anything. It's also during this same conversation when they're walking together.
Oh, yes. I remember this now.
Yes.
No, they're just walking through a park, I think.
Is this a park? Okay.
The scene I'm remembering is in a park.
Yeah, and really, not that important, I guess, but I could be misremembering, but
anyway, so her quirk, is she in My Hero now? No, sorry. All right.
Doesn't Toga in My Hero wear a mask like that? I think.
Yeah, I think she does.
So there you go.
Yeah.
She's Toga, whom I also love.
Does Toga have buck teeth? Don't know. She wears a mask all the time.
I know. Yeah.
No,
we see her without it now.
Yeah, I know.
But she'd be cute.
They're both cute.
Yeah, they're both cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he wears the headphones, which he admits to her is, he's not listening to anything. He's just like trying to alienate himself. Like people
trying to avoid conversing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's less approachable that way. I kind of relate to that.
Yeah. I think I said to George while we were watching this, I relate that to you because so George is listening to something, but anytime he leaves his house, as far as I know, you correct me if I'm wrong here, he puts on headphones so that people won't talk to him.
Not every time, but definitely like a lot of times when I go to the grocery store, it's like
you used to, at your old apartment complex, when you went to do laundry, you had to put on headphones.
Oh yeah.
Sort of the same thing.
Yeah, but for me, that's what's so funny to me in this movie, because like for me, it's both. It's like I love music, and I'd rather be listening to music than silence. So it's like if I do have to walk somewhere or go do something, like that's always an enticing option. But it has that added benefit that you seem a little more insular, like
it's
you're not
people avoidance tactic.
Yeah, for real. So I admit to that, but the audacity and kind of craziness. And he's not like an unhinged character.
Wearing headphones without listening to anything.
Yeah. Like that's pretty. I remember you giving me a hard time, like teasing me about that years ago. But just imagine if I wasn't listening to anything.
Oh, I assumed you weren't.
Yeah, you didn't know me well enough then, I guess. But yeah, so that's, and we kind of see him as they get closer. He stops wearing the headphones. Actually, pretty soon after,
Yeah.
they start spending more and more time together, and eventually she confronts. I don't want to give all this away, like stuff that happens. We can talk more about the old man and his his wife and stuff.
Search for the record. And,
yeah, and all that. But even maybe not all that, but there is some stuff to maybe leave for if you people. I don't know. So at one point they're looking for this vinyl record, and that brings them Cherry and Smile together more. Like I think they're already getting closer and closer, but it's this thing that they become united in.
It's sort of a united mission that brings them together more.
Yeah. And it's a nice way of doing that, of showing that, because we're going along the way with them.
So Smile sort of ends up becoming employed at the senior center as well.
That's true. Yeah, she starts working there too.
It's a very brief scene. We don't really know the details of it or anything, but and that's how her and Cherry end up sort of spending more time with Fujiyama-san, the old man, who's looking for the record.
Yeah,
and
she becomes
sort of
endeared.
discovering the story of why this record is important and. Spoilers therein lie, I suppose. But if you haven't watched this movie, stop listening now. We've been talking about it for about 30 minutes, and we're about to spoil some shit. So,
okay, fair enough.
Buck up, kiddos.
Buck teeth up. It turns out that the record is a musical album that with a singer who was the wife of Fujiyama-san, who died young after giving birth, but during birth, I'm not sure. Like shortly after, like she wasn't around for like no one really knows her except him, essentially, in the family.
Yeah.
And he, so it becomes apparent that because he's like, aware of stuff. Like he's not senile completely, but there's an aspect to him where like. Things are a little vague or cloudy. But like he has this record, and
he doesn't give a fuck. Mostly.
I guess so.
Only thing he cares about is finding that record.
Yeah,
I think.
But he speaks so very plainly, and he doesn't give them a lot to go off of. It's like
that's true.
And he knows they're helping him and stuff, but he's just very fixated on this, and and we find out, yes, because it's like the last memento of his wife. That's
Yeah, and he owns a record store. We find that out fairly early on, actually.
Yeah.
And he started the record store because he was trying to help promote the album that his wife had released.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
I think so. His name is Fujiyama, and the store is called Fujiyama Records. I think the record name is Yama something, and that's why I was thinking Yama for his name earlier. Yamakaze? No, it's that
Yamakaze.
thing that means something else.
Yes, it means crap.
I mean, Yama means mountain, Kaze means wind, mountain wind, but I don't think that's...
Wasn't it what it meant like buck teeth or...
Yeah. So there's...
Something like that.
I mean, probably not a literal translation in Japanese, but in the show, it's sort of explained that buck teeth are called this other thing. Oh no, it's Yamazakura, because it's definitely Sakura.
Yeah,
it's definitely Sakura related, right?
Yamazakura, yeah.
Mountain cherry blossoms or something like that.
And so
which are like the first to fall or something. I don't remember exactly what it said in the story.
There's a few cosmic coincidences that this story relies on, which is fine. But like one of those is the buck teeth thing, because this girl named Smile has it, but then also this deceased wife / singer also had buck teeth.
Fujiyama's wife.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this, like, wow, that's bizarre,
And they look quite similar in the pictures we see of Fujiyama's wife.
Yeah, it's just like this one picture, I think, on the record or something, or the sleeve.
I think there's another one in a newspaper or something.
Oh, okay, we might see one other one. There's only one that's coming to mind.
Yeah.
But So it becomes this quest, and they eventually find. They search the entire because they're
Find
closing the record store,
Yep.
and so they look other places too. But like, yeah, it all leads up to this.
Hey, you know what? Let's look through the record bins of this record store that this guy owns for this record that this guy's looking for. Doesn't that seem like the most obvious place to look where
I know.
someone would have looked before? But anyway,
Well,
so
to be
they
fair,
do that and they don't find it there, but
well, they do, but they take everything
not
down.
not in the record bins.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, not on the shelves. Like, yeah, not among any of the records. But it's behind.
But that was their idea to start with.
Yeah, but I think it was also closing. Like they were closing shop.
Yeah, I mean, but
so it was kind of like we have to do this anyway. So I was like, all right, I might as well.
You don't have to go through every single box of records.
No, I know, but it makes sense to me given how much they wanted to find it and the fact that they were going to have to move all the records anyway. It's like
might as well. Before we carry this box of records, let's look through all 57 records in this box to make sure one of them's not the one he's looking for.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a time saver.
And so they don't find it, and also on top of that, they know they're looking for a picture disc, but yet they still look at the H label.
Oh yeah. They pull out black vinyl records and they're like, "Oh, what's this say?" No, that's not it.
Just another Frank Zappa record. And so yeah, at the very end, there's a coincidence where Cherry the night before or something found like a magazine behind like this little like bookshelf or something he had. And so the last thing to move is their little mini fridge that's in
so he was at home
store.
and he was like, "Where's that porn magazine that I used to jerk off to?" I brought it back.
Where did I hide that?
I brought it back to jerking off.
Did I just shove it behind this bookshelf and I heard my mom, approaching?
Mm-hmm. And so he moves the bookshelf. He's like, "Oh, there it is. There's my jerk off mag." And so Cherry thinks of that when they're at the record store, and he's like, "Wait, there's this mini fridge over here. Has anyone looked behind this mini fridge? It's very much like the bookshelf that I moved last night. Oh, let me move that. Oh, look, there's the fucking record."
Yes, so they find it, and then I remember we were both yelling at the TV with the handling of the vinyl record. They're getting their greasy paws all over it.
Every single record they touch, they're just like fucking smearing their oils in every fucking groove. And if you are of a younger generation and you don't know how to handle a vinyl record, handle it by the very edges. Do not put your fingers on the part that has grooves in it because your fingers have oils on it. Your oils will get into the grooves. The oil in the grooves will attract dust and your records will sound like shit. So...
And don't run around with it. Go outside and hug it.
Yeah.
Don't do that either.
Don't make sweet, sweet love to it on the porch, or not that happens in this movie, but don't do that either.
And also, if you notice that it's warped, don't set it on a flat surface and then apply pressure.
Especially if it is a picture disc, which is not a vinyl record, but what are they made out of? It's not acetate. It's like a polycarbonate or something, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know it's different, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a much more fragile material. Like if you see a record that's warped, and you're like, "Oh, I just need to push down on that to flatten it out," it's going to end up a lot like what happens in this movie.
Yeah.
If it's a vinyl record, you're going to push down on it. It's going to do fuck all. So it doesn't actually matter in that case. You probably need to just put it in your oven on a very moderate temperature, but don't do that because you'll ruin the record.
And despite the
ask your parents. Do you know any boomers? Ask them how to flatten a record.
that, and I endorse all of that, and that ends our PSA about vinyl records. But do take note.
And other sorts of plastics.
Yes. But going back to the story, I like this a lot because it's like despite this coincidental finding the record behind the fridge, and the connection to the bookshelf at home. Mm-hmm. It's almost immediately undercut by this youngin's mishandling of it and she was just trying to fix it. She was trying to do right and she didn't know what she was doing and she smashes it, and they use it to great effect to show first she's trying to hide it, she's covering it with her body, don't look behind me. She takes it really really hard, and she takes all the pieces home, and there's a scene of her trying to super glue it back together, which and it's
I don't think it's super glue. It's some other sort of glue because it doesn't stick very well.
I know, but it was in a similar small bottle.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it does not work. And she just keeps doing it while, tears are streaming down her face. And, obviously an impractical thing to do in general, but the emotion was there of her
Yeah.
intention, and it was very nicely done in that regard.
It was very sweet of her to try, but even if she had succeeded, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have sounded good at all.
And this movie for me never hit. It hits a little bit like emotionally, but like this was one of those scenes where it was like that's very sweet. It's not like
Mm,
emotionally gut wrenching or just
yeah.
hitting you super hard. But it's like it conveys that emotion. Like it's successful at doing it, and it's yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's not like super deep or anything. It has some depth to it, but
Yeah,
it doesn't hit real deep. But it does hit a little bit
yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, but it's like it's
here
just
and
like a
there.
moderate amount, but it's all well executed and portrayed.
Yeah, I mean it's all very sweet, all very good intentioned on the parts of the characters, and
Yeah,
you sort of feel for them in their failures,
yeah.
and a little bit you get a little bit of joy out of their successes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we need to spoil more? Are we good?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You give final thoughts, I guess. But I would say that with along those lines, like I really appreciate, and I got to shout out a story that has characters that, they have unique characteristics. They have an arc, and they also like have this relationship that's really special. Yeah, I mean, I give this a 7 out of 10, so it's not like the most amazing thing, but it's really solid. Like it just ties everything together, and it's yeah, satisfying.
Ah, so a story that the characters have some depth and they have an arc, you give a 7 out of 10, the same as My Hero Academia.
Uh, well, that's ongoing. We're just talking about a
Mm.
movie.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I mean, I guess it gets less because it doesn't hit as hard as it maybe could.
Mm.
Like emotionally.
No, I was just being a jerk.
Oh, okay. It's got a nice soundtrack too. A lot of good cuts, and that soundtrack's on Spotify.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's cute. The characters have a sort of realistic sweetness about them. Uh, yeah, it's a good time
Yeah.
to watch. The story is absolutely utterly predictable in every way.
Yeah.
Like we were definitely shouting out what was going to happen
Yeah.
minutes before it
Yeah.
happened in every case in this movie. There's no real surprises, but the sweetness seems authentic
Yeah.
and
It's
feels
more
good.
about the characters than like figuring out the twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story is just a vehicle to carry the characters where they need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The twist is more just like I don't know, to carry things along, or I don't know, keep it interesting, even though you can see it coming.
Oh yeah. And well, that's what I'm saying. Not even like the twist, but like everything. You can
Oh
see it
yeah,
all coming.
yeah,
Everything.
that's true.
Like when we were introduced to the characters at the very beginning, we know that this guy and this
Yeah,
girl.
yeah, we're gonna meet, and I get
Yeah.
yeah. That's what's interesting about it is because despite that,
Mm.
it's still engaging.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, they do
yeah,
it. They
and
do a good
endearing.
job of building some.
Mm.
It's not. They're not super deep
Oh yeah,
characters,
yeah,
but they build some character depth to where we
yeah,
don't care deeply about the characters, but we care enough about them that to see them succeed in their emotional endeavors
mm.
feels good to us.
And they're
Um,
consistent with it too. Like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's good. It's sweet. Um, I like it. It's not. It's not the best movie I've ever seen for sure, but
what do you give it?
it's better than Batman and Robin. That's what I give it.
Okay, better than Batman and Robin. Wow. So welcome to most movies.
Welcome to every movie except Batman and Robin. No, what would I give it out of 10? Yeah, it's like a strong high 6, but doesn't quite make the 7.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know. It might be a 7 actually.
I give it a light 7. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah. It's
either side of that line.
it's
I mean,
right. It's right in that range. Like,
Yeah.
does it break that line between this is a fine movie, really well built, well structured, fine movie,
Mm.
or is this a not, not fine movie? Or is this a fine movie, really well built, well structured, fine movie? Or is this a not fine movie, really well built, well structured, fine movie? Or is this a fine movie, really well structured, fine movie? Or is this a greatly built and structured good movie. You know, like
Yeah.
it's a really,
I think for me, it's got a lot going for it, and I would watch it again. And so my rating, it's like definite 7. Like even if it's a light 7, like I would watch it again. So like a 6 is like, I don't really want to, and I'm not, jumping for, maybe I'd like it better. It's one of those things. Like if I had to.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, not that I would avoid watching it again, but I wouldn't ever choose to watch it again.
Yeah. And I guess you're not a big rewatching guy.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
But
different,
the
different
difference
metrics.
between a 6 and a 7 is like, oh, it's fine or it's
Yeah.
good. I don't know if I can say this movie is good. It's not bad. I don't think it's good. I don't
Fair
think it's
enough.
good enough.
I mean, music reviewer, The Needle Drop, Anthony Fantano on YouTube. He'll straight up do like a strong 6 to a light 7. That's the rating. And so it's like,
I mean, that's sort of the range I'm in. It's just 7 means good, and I can't cross that line, so it's strong 6 at best.
flirting with a 7.
Yeah, it could be a 7 in a couple years when I develop a fondness for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I recommend it. It sounds like you mostly do.
If you haven't seen it, I recommend it as well. It's a fine thing to watch.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
Fun for the whole family.
But a 7's sort of a rewatchable thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think and it is for me. It is for me.
Okay. I'm not so much in the rewatch camp.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
yeah, that's words bubble up like soda pop.
What is it? Kotoba no yoni. No. Saida no yoni kotoba wa. Whatever the word for bubble up is.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Still can't remember it.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
It's not something they teach you in early Japanese.
That's some creative language.
I can say all kinds of horrible things about your mom in Japanese somehow. But
About my mom?
don't know how to say. Yeah.
Excuse me.
You can say, I could say your mom's name specifically in Japanese if I wanted to. I'm not going to, though. If you're listening, I would never say anything bad about you. I didn't mean that for that to sound sexy or anything. If it does.
About creepy.
Does it sound creepy? Hey, George's mom. Call me.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, George's mom.
Yeah, if you want to like us on YouTube or Twitter, you can find us at Anime. That's UMLIKE ANIME. We're all sorts of other places too. Look us up. You'll find us there. This has gotten way off the fucking rails. George is just laughing at me over there. Bye.
Yeah.